Monday morning motivation once more. I am Chris from Chris Cooking Nashville. If you were brand new to the channel, please say hello. This is my beautiful wife, Ash Taylor, the country artist extraordinaire. You guys need to make sure to go to ashtaylor.com to hear all of your amazing country needs fulfilled for country music.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Happy belated Mother's Day, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. All the moms out there, we love you, we thank you, we appreciate you, because where would we be without our mothers?
Not here. That's the truth of it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, if you guys are brand new to the channel, drop it in the chat. Let us know. Let us know you guys are here. For the rest of you, say hello. Please let us know where you guys are watching from. Mm-hmm. And I saw she was in the chat, so a big shout out to the beautiful Cindy DeManch.
Yes.
It is her birthday, so happy birthday, Cindy. We are so glad that you are here, and we are so thankful that you were born and that you choose to spend a little bit of your time with us on your birthday. So
happy birthday.
Yes. But yeah, if you guys are brand new to the channel, like I said, my name is Chris, and I've lost about 130 pounds doing first keto and then carnivore, and I kind of float around on that proper human diet spectrum. 95% of the time I'm carnivore, and I lean over into the ketovore side a little bit, and I started creating recipes to try to help people find a proper human diet and make it sustainable and have tools that they could use to transition from the standard diet that we're all kind of used to eating, and trying to figure out how they could give this whole proper human diet journey a shot without feeling like they were just giving up everything and didn't recognize what they were going to be doing in the front end. And yeah, that's why I'm here. Why are you here? What is the proper human diet done for you, my love?
I'm here because I married you, and then you drugged me into
Sorry about that.
It's okay. I'm not complaining. I'm here because I've lost a little over 100 pounds, cured anxiety, depression, all kinds of health benefits have come from eating a proper human diet. So yeah, I mean, it's changed my life. It's changed my husband's life. We've seen it change the lives of many people, which is why my husband started a YouTube channel, why he makes recipes, why we're here, is just to kind of help everyone hopefully get motivated and encouraged and start their week out right.
Yep, absolutely. So you guys make sure, since you are here, hit the like and hit the share and the subscribe buttons, and make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when we go live or when we drop a new recipe or new tools or whatever. We are live every Monday, save one coming up here for a little bit. We're going to talk about that in a little while, but generally, unless we're out of town and traveling, we are live every Monday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we also go live Tuesday evenings, and I cook live and answer questions down in the kitchen as I make our dinner and show you guys some fun recipes and ways to use my recipes, just different things. So Tuesdays 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, Mondays 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and every Saturday we have a big recipe drop.
We do.
So sometimes we do other stuff too. But those are the main ones.
I love it. I love it. Hey, why don't we say hey to some folks?
Let's
real
do
quick? So Miss Janelle is here.
Hello, Janelle, Rockstar moderator and a member of our private community, The Band. Guys, make sure to join. That link is down below for you. We do extra behind the scenes and support and all kinds of stuff. And Janelle is very active over there and is helping a lot of people.
This is very true.
Yeah.
This morning she says, good morning, everyone. Please show your support and hit those like and subscribe buttons.
Yes, thank you so much, Janelle.
Appreciate that. And looks like we had Linda join the band.
Well, thank you so much, Linda. We're glad you're here. See Janelle welcoming you there.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, so glad you joined us indeed. Thank you, Janelle. And Janelle, see, she's on it. Please visit the CCN Studio channel and like and subscribe there too.
Yep, if you were watching this on the main channel, go down to the description box and the CCN Studios channel is there. Eventually, when we have that channel grown big enough, we are going to move these kinds of videos and live streams over there so that if people are just interested in the food, they'll be able to be on the main channel. Mm-hmm. If they're just interested in the health aspects, we'll do other health type videos. They can go to the Studios channel, and if they want both, they can see us on both.
There you go. There you go. Janelle also has a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Chris and Ash, when can we start voting again for our favorite chef?
Yes, thank you so much. So I made it through the group competition of the favorite chef competition. The group round, we won for our group first place, and so we are in the quarterfinals now. I believe at 10 a.m. Pacific time, which would be 1 Eastern or 12 Central, today is when they're going to open voting back up for the next round. I will share that link. So you guys watch the channel. I will put it on the channel. I'll put it on the Facebook page. I'll put it everywhere that we have access to share it with you guys today when that is live. And please go vote, because this is our opportunity to get a proper human diet, and specifically being a chef as a proper human diet person in the mainstream media, unlike a Food Network chef level thing, like a feature in Taste of Home magazine. You get to work with Carla Hall, you get to meet some other Food Network chefs. Like, there's all kinds of stuff that would be so amazing to just take a proper human diet to a completely different level of mainstream media that it's never been before. And so far, we're doing real good. So like it and subscribe to it and share it and vote every day. And I don't know how this round works because we've never been this far. So I think, unless it changes, you can vote every 24 hours for free. So set a reminder on your phone once I share that link. Every 24 hours, just go vote and share it with everyone you know. Ask them to go vote so that we can actually get the knowledge and the word out of a proper human diet to mainstream media all around the world. It would be amazing to do.
Yeah. I think we honestly have a pretty great chance of actually winning the whole thing.
Well, we have a great community. We have a huge community. If we can get the whole proper human diet community, keto and carnivore and all the low carb people behind this, there's no reason we can't win.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. Auntie is here with us this morning.
Hi, Auntie.
She says, good morning, Chris and Ash. Sadly, from now on, my time will be cut short. But on a good note, I start with one of my new clients this a.m. at 9. I am forever grateful my life is an upturn again.
Yeah, well, Auntie, I'm glad that things are looking up. And that's okay if you got to leave us early. That's fine.
Yeah,
we still love you.
You guys can always watch the replay. You know, that's why we put them up there. So we get it, though. That's awesome, though. I love this. This is a name I don't recognize. Unretired Carnivore.
Hello.
Welcome. Says good morning from Florida.
Good morning to you.
That's awesome. Miss Lynn is here.
Hello, Lynn.
Jeffrey Cox is in the house.
Another member of our band.
Yes.
Yeah.
He says, good morning, everyone, and my favorite chef and fam. Actually here live due to a patient blowing me off. Hope everyone has a great meat-fueled week.
Yeah, we're glad you're here, Jeff. Very cool to have you joining us live. Maybe you can tell everybody in the chat how much the band has done for you, because I know Jeff was one of those people that said he joined to support us, but he didn't really think that it was so much something that would help him.
Yeah.
And now he's like, I didn't realize I needed this. So maybe Jeff could tell everybody in the chat how much he loves the band and why they should all join.
Yes, absolutely.
And anybody else who's a member of the band, drop it in the chat. What do you love about the band? What do we do over there? What do you guys enjoy? Yeah. Let people know why you're there.
Absolutely. Hey, let's answer this question really quick from Grandma's here, Patricia Hoffman.
Hi, Grandma.
So she's asking Janelle and some folks, so just to clarify, what is the name of the channel Chris does with Dustin and Victor? Yeah,
so it's not a channel. It's just a series that we do, and we put it on all 3 of our channels. So you can see it on my main channel. But we do a series once a month called Keto Crusades,
Mm-hmm.
and we just talk about how we can bring the community together and discuss what's going on in the world of the low carb, proper human diet spectrum, and just kind of figure out how we can all support each other and work together. So that's called Keto Crusade, and it is once a month, and you can find it on my channel, or if you're over on Victor or Dustin's channel, they put it on theirs too.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, babe, I think you should start preaching.
You think I should start preaching?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, Heidi's here with us.
Well,
this
hey
morning.
Heidi, how are you?
I love Heidi. Heidi
Yes.
says, good morning, y'all. So
Yes.
ready for Motivation Monday.
Yes.
So glad you're here.
All right. Well, I'm so glad you guys are here. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. You saw the title of this video, Willpower is a Myth, Make Keto Carnivore Easy. Now, I recognize that there are different people that have different approaches to things and just different views on what makes you successful at something or what you have to fight with, to be successful. And I am one of these people that I don't believe with trying to change your life, to change your habits, to be stable at doing something that is outside your norm because you're trying to, change your health. You're trying to metabolically become healthy. You're trying to do all of these things. I don't believe that suffering through it and doing things the hard way, especially on the front end, is going to earn you any special points or extra medals or anything like that. I think if there's a way to make it easier to be successful with keto, with carnivore, with whatever version of a proper human diet you want to eat and you want to use to change your health, if there's ways to make it easier, I think you should lean into them. I think you should not try to willpower your way through. I think you should work smarter, not harder, and try to outsmart your tendencies. And I'm going to give you guys a story that sort of is where a lot of this kind of comes from for me. When I was on a standard American diet, I had a really severe issue with soda. Now, I had a lot of issues with a lot of foods, but soda in particular was one. I could crank through soda. I mean, Ash will tell you, I could drink soda in massive amounts. Like, I could sit and drink a 2-liter bottle of soda without trying.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't even want to know how many carbs I was putting in my body on a daily basis, just in soda and, like, sweet tea. Okay? Just that. Forget the food and all the other junk I was putting in my body. Just the soda that I was drinking was probably enough to kill a horse.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really bad. And that comes with not just the instant sugar hit of the fact that it's liquid sugar and fructose and, all these things. Not just that, but it also comes with all of the weird chemicals and all of the coloring and all of the everything that they put in soda. And it's no wonder that I had severe heartburn, acid reflux type stuff and gained all the weight. And it's just, so many issues from this. So I realized long before I ever even considered low carb, I mean, this was years before I knew anything about keto or carnivore. It was before I had moved away from Nashville and was then going to move back to Nashville where I met my beautiful wife. So this was like years and years and years ago. This was probably 12 or 14 years ago now.
Yeah.
I realized that I had a severe soda addiction and I needed to kick that. Mm-hmm. So I started trying to figure out what I was going to do to replace my soda in my daily habits. And you guys have to realize our psychology is a really powerful thing. Like, this is why I create recipes, because when you're used to a certain thing, changing to something else just by sheer willpower and discipline, that's really hard. Mm-hmm. And it makes it much easier to fail, to give up, to just not see it through when you don't have tools to help you through it. So somewhere, even without all of the knowledge that I have now, I realized I needed to kick the soda addiction, and I realized that just stopping without having any plan or any approach or whatever would not set me up psychologically to succeed. Mm. So I started buying bottled water to keep in my refrigerator so that I could switch to drinking water. And I remember I had this conversation with my dad because trying to help, my dad said, "Why don't you just get a Brita filter and just have filtered water? It would be so much cheaper." And he was right, it would be a lot cheaper. But I also realized I didn't do a very good job at remembering to refill that Brita pitcher.
Yeah.
Like, I'd always struggled with that in the past, and like I'm not. You guys have to realize brain fog, lack of motivation. I was like 24, 23, something like that, right? Um, I did not have the self discipline, the stability, the whatever it is that I have now. This might have even been more like 15 years ago now that I think about it. So I did not have any of that kind of stuff that I do now because I was struggling and was super inflamed, and I hadn't gained all of my weight yet. I was starting to gain some, but I hadn't really gained a lot of it yet. So I was still kind of not exactly thin, but I was not so morbidly obese like I became, to where I didn't really think that I had these issues. And so I was struggling with things like brain fog and depression and all this stuff that I didn't really realize I was struggling with, and I didn't have as much of an outward example of how unhealthy I was. So it just didn't occur to me that something was going on. So I was really struggling. And so somewhere, somehow, I figured out that I needed a tool. And I said, well, if I buy bottled water, even if it's not cold, which I much prefer it cold, but even if it's not cold, I can grab it and drink it straight out of the bottle. I can grab it and go with me to work, to, whatever, and just grab it in the fridge and run out the door, kind of a thing. Whereas if it was in a pitcher, I had to have a water bottle, which I would then have to force myself to remember to wash, and I would like lose while I was out. Like all kinds of different elements where I would have to self discipline myself to do things that I was not already naturally good at doing.
Mm.
So instead of just trying to change the soda habit, I would be trying to change that. And I would be trying to change my habit of taking a water bottle. And I would be trying to force myself to remember to wash it. And I would be forcing myself to remember to refill the water bottle. And and I would put all these layers on it. And it was like, my dad made the comment. He's like, well, you just have to discipline yourself and willpower your way through. And I was like, right, but I don't think I can do that. And he totally meant well. We just had two different outlooks on this, and maybe he can do that, and that's cool. I couldn't, and I knew that I couldn't. So what I did was intentionally set myself up to succeed at these things in completely different ways. And so I got the bottled water. I spent the extra money because the convenience of just shoving a whole case of bottled water in my fridge, grabbing it as I run out the door, gave me the ability to work on it instead of the excuse of, well, see, I just ran out the door. Now I'm going to run over to Circle K and I'm going to get that 69-cent Polar Pop that's gigantic, whatever, because I'm thirsty. The less excuses you can give yourself and the less willpower you try to use, the easier it is to succeed. Right? Now, I just made a recipe video for you guys that came out Saturday, which is doing very well. That is the 90-second carnivore bread recipe. This is a perfect example of how you can use a recipe to not have to willpower your way through things. Instead of having to go to the store to buy keto bread, or trying to figure out like, oh, I'm going to eat my lunch meat and I'm just going to, not have it on a sandwich, like not have it on bread as a sandwich the way that I'm used to. What if you could just make the 90-second carnivore bread? Just have the recipe, you'll memorize that recipe very quickly as soon as you get it right the first time, and you're like, oh yeah, got it, cool. You do it. You figure out if you need to adjust the timing of your microwave a little bit up or down, depending on the wattage of your microwave. You get that right. You just have everything ready to go. I can whip up one of those 90-second carnivore breads. I'm talking like getting the stuff out, mixing it, pouring it in the mold, cooking it, and dumping it out ready to go in probably 3.5 minutes. 3.5 minutes. Like, it does not take long. And it's easier to make the 90-second bread than it is to go to the store and buy like keto bread that's full of junk and the starches and the wheat glutens and all the things. So instead of trying to willpower your way through, or instead of forcing yourself to just oh, I'm just going to eat the lunch meat and just not have the bread and, whatever. Instead of having multiple layers, what if you started out and you said, okay, instead of taking sandwiches with normal crap bread to work or to make it for my kids or any of this kind of stuff, I'm going to make the 90-second carnivore bread and I'm going to turn that into sandwiches. And maybe I make 3 or 4 of them and I have them, for several days during the week. Maybe I make them and, keep them in the fridge and have them. Maybe make a whole bunch of them one day and I've got 2 weeks worth. I mean, I don't know, however you want to do it. But maybe I do that and I make throwing together a sandwich that I can take to work really simple. Rather than fighting with my tendencies, fighting with my psychology, ending up at work trying to eat beef jerky or trying to fast or trying to take things I don't really like as much as this sandwich I'm used to, or whatever the case may be. What if I just use that and I just made it easy to have a much healthier version of this thing? So I'm adjusting what I'm doing, but I'm not adjusting 5 different things all simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you do it a little at a time. You do little things, and instead of willpowering your way through, you find convenience. You find easy to do things. You find tools that help you stand up and reformat your own psychology about these things. Build new habits, but not in a way that's you banging your head against the wall. So maybe you start with that 90-second bread and lunch meats because that's just easy. Then maybe you start, the lunch meats, maybe they've got some stuff in them. They're not really as healthy as they should be. Maybe they've got some additives. Cool. Try to find some leaner lunch meats. And then you're like, I've been using that store-bought mayo. Maybe I shouldn't be using that. Okay. Maybe you get the butter mayo recipe that I have and you start making the butter mayo that you're going to put on that sandwich. Mm-hmm. And then you go, I don't think lunch meat of any kind, even if it's the stuff that's cleaner, that doesn't have the junk, maybe the lunch meat just isn't really what I should be doing. So then you start cooking meat that you put on there, chicken or, some beef, or you make burger patties or whatever it is you do. And then you get to a point you're like, I don't really think I even care about making the bread anymore. I think I'm just going to have this burger patty and, whatever. That's a progression over weeks or months or years, whatever, that you're little by little cleaning up what you do and making it better and better and better. And you get to a point where you don't need any of these things, but you haven't had to fight or willpower or self-discipline your way through changing that because you've just been able to do it a little at a time.
Mm.
One of the biggest things Dr. Berry talks about with people is like when you're going low carb, it's the first time you've ever done it, he's like, you can do it overnight. And if you want to go through that, there's nothing wrong. It's not dangerous. You can totally do it. But you might feel a little miserable doing so. Instead, what he usually recommends for most people is he's like, 1 week you cut out all of the like processed sugars, right? Like all the desserts and the sugar and the soda. And then the next week you start cutting out all of the excess grains, like the breads and, whatever. And then you start cutting out the next week the starchy veggies, and it's like the potatoes and the rice and the pasta, like those sorts of things. And so just week by week, you're working your way down until suddenly you're eating meat, low-carb veggies. And it's like you haven't struggled with like a sudden turning of a brand new leaf overnight. Like you can gradually do that and set yourself up to be successful. So that's a really important thing. And I think, unfortunately, in the community sometimes there are people that, out of a desire to feel elite, whatever their reasoning is, they're very loud about it. And they will tell you, like, you just got to crack the whip on yourself. You just got to discipline yourself. I've had people tell me that, like, if you just crack the whip on yourself, you'd be skinny in, like, a month. And it's like, one, it's not about that. Two, I eat so much more simply than I think people think that I do. Because I don't make recipes every day. Like, that's for the videos. Most of the time I eat very simply. But three, it's like, why? What prize do you win by getting skinny as fast as you possibly can? Now, you don't want to be metabolically unhealthy for years and use that as an excuse to just do whatever you want. That's not in any way what I'm saying. That's not something you should do. But if you're doing things that are good for your body and your body is improving metabolically and you're working towards a goal, You know yourself. You know what you're capable of doing and what you're not. So don't make excuses, but also don't try to live up to some unrealistic expectation of how fast you're going to do all of this. I'm going to willpower my way through this and self-discipline, and I'm just going to beat my head against a wall until I'm just the perfect carnivore. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why would we do that? What is the point? There are no prizes to be won. There is nothing special if you can go meet salt water overnight. Like it's not you're not gonna win some prize. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you have got to be as as totally stable and realistic about making this work for you wherever you fall in that PhD spectrum, right? You can be anywhere from super strict carnivore, meat, salt, water, even lion diet, all the way up to a general low carb and anywhere in between. And you don't have to stick to one spot. You can oscillate. You can vacillate back and forth. You can go up and down that spectrum until you find the perfect place for you. And if you don't try to willpower your way through, and if you're not trying to beat your head against the wall, but you're using things that are tools that help you stabilize, that help you feel satisfied, and then you're in a realistic way thinking about what is the actual legitimate outcome of this next decision that I'm going to make, and how can I make it as easy and convenient to do the right thing, make the right choice, the easy one, every single day. That's what's going to get you there. So one of the things we do is we get all the junk out of the house, because then it's not easy to make the choice of having the junk in the pantry, right? You don't have to willpower your way through. We learn things like 90-second carnivore bread. And instead of going and buying junky bread that says keto on the package, that's all about making money for a company, we actually make things we know what goes into it. Now, is that carnivore bread what you should eat the rest of your life? I don't know. That's up to you. Do those products that are in that and those ingredients work for you? Great. If not, and if you need to go even stricter, cool. Work your way in that direction and use the carnivore bread as a tool to get you there. So I think the whole thing here is don't try to make everything hard and think you're going to win some award by making it hard. There are things that are going to be hard no matter what you do. Don't pile on the hard because you're trying to live up to some expectation that if it's not hard, then somehow it's not good. You know, figure out the things that are good for you and then figure out the tools and the ways you can make the right choice as convenient and easy as possible. Set yourself up for success and don't rely on your willpower. Rely on your logistics and your planning so that in the moment, if you're struggling, you have a little something to fall back on. And it will make it much more convenient. I saw in the comments over here, by the way, that everybody was saying hi to Nisha. Nisha popped in, so hello to Nisha. We appreciate that very much for you popping in. And if you guys didn't know, I actually do some work in the PhD community, Dr. Barry's community over there. We do some live streams for the tribe. I've been a member of the tribe for a long time. And Nisha and Dr. Barry are the reason that Ash and I are here and getting healthy and doing this work. I took Dr. Barry at his word when he said, if you want to thank me for the work that I've done to help you. He said this in a live stream one time. Someone thanked him and gave him a super chat, and he said, I appreciate that. He said, if you really want to thank me for what I've done and you think I've really helped you, you should take what I've taught you and go teach your friends and your family and your neighbors and help me spread the word and help me fight this fight and get this message out. And so I took him very seriously about that. I ended up starting a YouTube channel, and here we are. And now we get the very distinct honor and privilege of getting to be part of the PhD community, where I actually get to do some private like live streams and cooking and some posts and things in there to help people from a culinary standpoint with their PhD journey. So that is a massive honor. And when Nisha and Dr. Barry asked us to do that, that was very, very deep, touching in the heart for me.
Yeah.
Because I owe them a great deal, and the tribe is fantastic, and their work and the private group over there has just completely changed our lives. So
Yeah.
we are honored to be a part of that. So if you guys are interested in, especially if you have like medical stuff, you need like coaching, you need information about medical stuff that is far beyond the scope of my culinary stuff that I do here. You guys should absolutely go join the PhD community, the tribe, Dr. Barry's group. It is fantastic. Maybe one of our moderators could go grab Dr. Barry's link and drop that in the comment for you guys. It's a really fantastic group, and I love our band community because of all of the stuff that we get to do and the culinary things I can help with, and just our motivation and our inspiration. But even in our private community, there are questions sometimes that it's like, I have no idea how to help with this. I'm not a doctor.
We teach you how to make 90-second carnivore bread. We do not give medical advice.
Yes. Yeah. So if you are looking for that kind of information, help with your labs, coaching to walk you through things like, tracking your macros and your hormone issues and all these different kinds of things, the PhD community, the tribe with Dr. Barry and Nisha, it is the best place on the internet to change your life with those things. It's the reason that I'm still a part of it and love being over there so much, and why we do the work to try to offer some extra culinary stuff over there for people in that context, because it's really incredible. So thank you, Nisha, for popping in and saying hello.
Yes,
really good to see you this morning.
Good morning, and hopefully you had a wonderful Mother's Day.
Yes, absolutely. I saw a clip of Nisha singing, by the way, while holding the little one.
Aww.
And singing and being a mom simultaneously, and it was very
so
cute.
Sweet.
So, and yes, Nisha made a good point. No medical advice, no official medical advice, medical guidance information. Wellness guidance. Yes, it's a really good way. It's so weird, the the terminology that you have to remember with these kinds of things, because specific medical advice only comes from a doctor-patient relationship where you are working one-on-one with a medical provider as your medical provider. So if you need wellness guidance, that is a great way to put that. If you need wellness guidance, that is the place to go for it.
Oh, yeah. I agree. Lots and lots of good people.
Yep, absolutely.
It's awesome. Cool.
But yeah, so there's my thoughts on the willpower thing. And I hope that's something that makes sense to you guys. I hope that is something that you can start thinking now. How would you start implementing these kinds of things? How would you, in your life, start putting into practice the idea of, it's not about willpower, it's about setting yourself up to make the right choice, the convenient one? What are some things you guys can do? Would love for you to drop in the chat. What would you do to make this more convenient, to make these choices better, easier, just more right in front of you, so you don't have to willpower your way through? Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on any of that?
Yeah, I think a lot of people sometimes will approach things like this like it's like a diet, and I myself am guilty of that. Before Keto and Carnivore, I felt like I was always trying some new diet or some new craze. Right. And I think this is just the difference, though, between a diet and a lifestyle.
Yeah.
A diet is something that you just do, and somehow we have an idea that overnight we're going to change, everything that we do.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat totally different. I'm going to start working out. I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to start doing that. You go and you buy all the products and you do all the stuff, and then you do it until you realize, this just doesn't work. And you go back into the old habits and the old ways. Whereas I think a proper human diet, wherever you fall on the spectrum, it's a lifestyle. Yeah. And so I think if we approach things more of this idea of, like, instead of willpowering your way, just make progress, daily do different things where it's like you're always improving.
Yeah.
You're always making the better choice. You're not, just trying to overnight change. I mean, I ate like total crap for 30 years. It's like, I don't expect to be carnivore for 30, 60, 90 days and have everything reversed. I plan on doing that and then learning my body, which will also change as I get older. I mean, it's common sense, but like, I'm not looking at doing this for a short amount of time and changing everything. I do it for the rest of my life. I do it until the day that I die. So I think understanding that, that's such a big mindset change, though, that I wish more people, when they approached the low carb spectrum, wherever it is they fall, that they would think about that though.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a race, right? It's not who gets there the fastest.
Yeah.
And if you can overnight do that, cool. But, you know, sometimes, like, I kind of wish when we started Keto and Carnivore, I wish Chris would have had some of his recipes.
Yeah.
Like, I think those would have been really cool tools that I could use when I was like, man, it's Christmas morning and I want pancakes, because I would eat pancakes every Christmas morning with my brothers. You know, it's things like that where it's like, man, if I would have had tools and options, and then if I would have looked at it from, I'm just going to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It just, it's a very important mindset that I don't think a lot of us sometimes get. And that would be my one tip of advice, though. So you're not going to get an award for changing overnight. You kind of want to make it sustainable and just keep showing up every day and just making progress.
Right.
And I found that, you know, we've only been, I guess, I've been doing this for almost 3 years, I guess it would be. 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah, well, so the YouTube channel is a little over 2 years now.
Yes.
It's about 2 years old. And it was probably, let's see, 4 or 5 months before that.
Yeah.
That we had, so we did keto and then I went carnivore like way back for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I went off the rails with a carb addiction issue, which is why all of this channel exists and everything. I went off the rails, had a carb addiction issue. I had all of these problems, and I gained a lot of the weight back because I just went totally off the rails. And Ash, God bless her, just kind of rolled with me because, you know, when you're married, you kind of do life together in every way.
Also, here's the thing. You cannot force somebody to change, y'all.
Right.
Let's just, like...
And I was the one doing all the cooking.
Yeah.
So you were eating what I was making, and you weren't trying to badger me into doing what you knew was better for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so what ended up happening is I gained a lot of weight. You gained some weight.
Yeah.
Right, back. And then we were so miserable, we were like, we just can't do this. And we were getting ready to move. And I literally was like, I can't go up and down the stairs to help us move.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't walk anymore. Because the pain has gotten so bad again that going up and down the stairs once or twice, I'm out of breath. My knees hurt. My feet hurt. My ankle, I broke my ankle when I was, before I'd moved back to Tennessee. So I have like a metal rod in my ankle. Like that would hurt because of the inflammation. Like all of these things. I was like, I'm not going to be able to move. I'm going to be sitting here watching my wife carry things up and down the stairs while I'm on the couch. Like, that would make me feel awful.
Yeah.
If I had to do that and watch her do all this work. And so I was like, it was a few months before we were going to move, and I was like, no, we gotta change. I gotta do it now. And I was like, I don't know how we're going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And so I just overnight went carnivore. So ask me how I know how bad the transition from standard American diet to carnivore is when you do it overnight.
Yeah.
Few embarrassing stories with that one we won't go into. But you can do it, but you just got to muscle your way through some unpleasant stuff. So we changed, and that was I think that was January that year. And so I started setting up the YouTube channel because I was going to do it, but there was nothing on there. And it wasn't until about May, I guess, that I really had started that YouTube channel. So the YouTube channel is 2 years old. Us doing keto and carnivore this time around, where we've truly made it the lifestyle and we've really sustained, is going on about 2.5 years.
Yeah. And you know what the turning factor was, though? Making it a lifestyle.
Making it a lifestyle.
Don't approach it like a diet. It's a lifestyle.
A lifestyle. And also, that's why I started the channel, and I started vlogging about my health issues every single week. I wanted to have a sort of a health vlog style weekly thing, and I did that for almost a year. And I did that because I wanted accountability with a community of people watching, and I thought maybe I can inspire 2 or 3 people and I'll have a handful of people watching me, but because I'm putting it out there publicly, I'm being held accountable. And I joined Dr. Barry's group, and I started vlogging, and I did what he said to do because I was already noticing the changes in myself by the time I got around to starting the channel. And when I was putting those videos up, and we turned it into a lifestyle, and I used the channel as a way to force myself to stay accountable to it. And it was one of the things that I did because it made the right choice the easy choice, because if I made the wrong choice, I was going to have to go on and talk about it online.
Yeah.
And so I found a tool that made it to where I wasn't willpowering my way through. I had motivation that inspired me to make the right choice. And we started off with very simple food. And I was doing lots of steaks and lots of burger patties and lots of chicken thighs and that kind of stuff. and I would keep that stuff just ready to go. And then I started doing things like, you guys have seen my quiche recipe, my crustless carnivore quiche. I would make those and I would cut them into wedges and wrap those in plastic wrap and just keep them in the fridge. So when I was getting ready, because I was still working a day job, so I'd get ready to go to work, I'd reach in the fridge, I'd grab one, and I'd shoot out the door.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so things like that helped me become carnivore and be stable. And then I got to a point I was only eating one meal a day. I didn't need to take them with me. This is interesting. One meal a day, something people try to willpower their way through, and maybe some people need to. For me personally, I ended up doing one meal a day because I was using that quiche.
Mm-hmm.
I was taking 2 wedges of that quiche. So I was eating like half of one of those quiches, right? And then I would come home and have dinner. Then I got to a point I would only take one. Then I got to a point I would get to the end of it and I was like, I'm really just not hungry for this.
Mm.
And the later and later and later in the day I was getting to where I was eating that quiche and I still just didn't really want most of it. And so then finally I just stopped taking them.
Yeah.
I would have my coffee when I would go to work,
Mm-hmm.
and I would have one meal a day when I came home. And that happened naturally over about a 3-month period. I didn't force myself. I didn't willpower myself. I just ate the right stuff, and it became easy to make the decision. So
Absolutely.
just kind of another example. And there's a lot of ways. So I'd love to see what you guys have to say about it. But it's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really, really cool.
I love it. Do you want to go ahead and say hello to some folks?
Yeah, I'd love to say hello to people.
Awesome. We got Mr. Richard Williams.
Hello,
here.
neighbor in Copper Hill, Tennessee. Good to see you, my friend.
That's right. And we got Sherry Nevada Pup
Hello,
here.
Sherry. Good to see you.
Martha is here.
Hi, Martha.
She says, good morning, everyone. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. You too.
Very sweet. And Aaron, average keto carnivore-ish guy, is here.
Hello, Aaron. Good to see you, my friend.
He says, good morning. Good morning to you. Tootie is here.
Tootie.
Victoria, Texas. I love your name. That's
yes,
fun.
that's
I
fun.
love it. And this is awesome. Jackie says, good morning from Misty Pacific Northwest.
Yep.
Happy birthday, Cindy.
Hello, Jackie. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes, Jackie's awesome.
Jackie is great.
She's great. Lisa Marie is here.
Hi, Lisa.
I love it. This is a great example. We were talking about, just evolving over time. So I bought all the ingredients for the carnivore pancakes.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, after cooking just meat and eggs for a few weeks, I can't convince myself to do all the steps to make them.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the deal, guys. This is why, again, we've talked about this. I think people think I'm eating those recipes that I make for you guys on YouTube that I'm eating every day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't eat those every day. I eat those when I make them for the videos. And on Tuesday nights, sometimes I will do a more intricate recipe on Tuesday nights for the live streams. And then sometimes I just use leftovers of those recipes from doing a recipe video the day before. Or, we'll do something real simple or whatever. I'm like you. I don't want to have to do all the work for those recipes every day.
Every day. Yeah.
I like having the option. And if it's a special thing, if we have people over, we're entertaining, we have a family dinner night with her brothers, whatever the case is, I will make special recipes. Or if it's a holiday, I'll make special recipes. And that's what we do.
Exactly. And that's their tools.
Our dog is in here hotboxing us again.
Oh, Mel.
Sorry, guys. My nose hairs are turning because my dog is laying on the floor cranking it out right now.
That's my girl. Dustin at Keto Simple is in the house.
Hi, Dustin.
He says, good morning, my friends. Happy Monday.
My eyes aren't watering because you're here, believe me.
It's tears of joy.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
We took her to the lake yesterday, and I think she swallowed some seaweed, because normally it's not so bad. Like, she we feed her pretty cleanly. Yeah, she's looking at me now. Yeah,
Oh, Mel.
She ate a bunch of seaweed yesterday, I think, while she was swimming in the lake, and now we're getting fish farts. Ugh. Ooh, that is rough.
That's what she does.
Golly.
Jackie has a great question.
Yeah.
Congrats on the favorite chef progress. Remind people, when does the voting reopen?
Yeah, voting will reopen today. It should be 10 a.m. Pacific time, which should be 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central.
Yes.
I will be posting the link for the favorite chef competition for you guys to vote for me on the channel here, like in the posts. If you go to my channel and you go where it says community posts, you'll see it there. We'll also post it on the Facebook page. We'll put it everywhere we have access to give you guys the link. So make sure to watch for that today and share it with everyone you know. Let's see if we can't win and take a proper human diet to the mainstream level, like literally like Food Network level chefs.
Yes.
How cool would it be to have a proper human diet chef, whether it was me or someone else, cooking alongside Food Network chefs?
Yeah.
And saying you can do this and you can still make choices that are good for your health.
Yeah.
How cool would that be?
It's pretty awesome, and we can do it. Like we're really close though. I mean,
yeah.
Like, we've made
We're
it
in the quarterfinals.
so far. So
we're in the quarterfinals.
Let's vote, people. Let's
Yep.
vote.
We got the message that I made it through the round, and it said to win the group round, you're in the top 1% of chefs in the nation.
Yeah.
For this competition.
It's pretty crazy. And he says that title though, Willpower is a myth.
Yes, absolutely.
I love it. Miss Debbie's here.
Hi, Debbie.
She says, morning, Chris and Ash and everyone. I love this. Heidi says, spent the weekend in the woods with the pup getting grounded with the earth, walking barefoot and eating beef and bacon and eggs over an open fire. Such a blessing to be in God's beauty.
Heidi, that sounds amazing, and that is as ancestral as you can get.
It is, though.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
What an amazing thing to do.
Yes. And here's another favorite chef question. I don't know if you know the answer to this one off the top of your head. What category are you in for the next round of favorite chef voting?
I have absolutely no idea. I don't know what, like, how the competition works from this point forward. I don't know, because I've never gotten close to being this far.
Yeah.
I've only ever done this once before, but we did not make it this far. This is long before I was a keto or carnivore chef. We owned a bakery, and I was in this, and we made it a certain way along the way, and then we got knocked out. So I have absolutely no idea how they do the categories or what the deal is. But now, what's cool, this point forward, we are all, of course, competing for the big grand prize. But there's also multiple Food Network chefs that are all going to go in and make their own pick for like a little subcategory winner of people they like. So we're going to be starting to get reviewed. Our profile is going to be getting reviewed by Food Network chefs.
Yeah. So
it's really cool. And they're going to make their own picks. So who knows? Who knows what's going on from this point on? But it's an adventure, and we're in it together, guys.
Yeah. Either way, I think it's just super cool, though, to have a proper human diet chef be represented. You know how many more people, like, even if you didn't win, which I think you have a great chance of winning, but it's like, even if you just placed higher, it's like, wow, like, this is crazy.
It's amazing. We got 100 people watching right now. If all of those 100 people would go vote for me and share this with everyone they know, and then those people would share it, and especially if we can get this in the proper human diet community, everyone recognizing that I'm trying to do this and voting, we're a big enough community. We're not a niche little crazy, fad diet group anymore. Like, this is becoming a real thing. This is a real movement. Mm-hmm. And if we get everybody behind it, I think we could absolutely win without any question.
Absolutely.
And that would be a way to show the world that this is the real thing.
Yeah. That, and then stories like this.
Yep.
Aaron, average keto carnivore-ish guy, says 6 weeks carnivore-ish.
Yes.
I like that, carnivore-ish. My clothes are feeling better on me finally.
Congrats and rock on.
Oh, so cool.
We are so proud of you. Keep going. You're doing so great.
Yes. Says also, first blood work while doing carnivore-ish. All cholesterol levels are in normal ranges.
That's great. Good for you.
Heck yeah. It's awesome. Miss Cheryl's in the house.
Hello, Cheryl.
And I love this. Deb is here.
Hi, Deb.
New subscriber here. I'm Tanya's mom, which is Kitchen Witch.
Yeah.
We know Kitchen Witch. We know Tanya. She says she loves you guys. Well, we love her.
We love both of you. Thank you so much for being here, Deb.
We appreciate that. So sweet. Janelle says, don't work hard, work smart.
Yes.
Have low carb options ready for you when trying to make healthier choices or when cravings
Yes, absolutely.
Agreed. And Jeffrey Cox says, highly recommend joining the band for any number of reasons that may be specific to you. For me, it's a tribe of loving, like-minded peeps. Otherwise, support for your struggles, questions answered, wins shared, etc.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. Cindy is here.
Hi, Cindy.
She's watching from Southwest Virginia.
Yeah.
Lynn has a Mel question.
Okay.
She wants to know, off topic, but any big plans for Mel's big birthday coming up?
Well, the lake yesterday.
Yes.
Because we're going to be out of town.
Yes. So Chris and I are actually going to be heading out of town to go to Meat Stock over in Gatlinburg. So we're going to be gone on her actual birthday. But Lynn, you know that I make sure that Mel is, that's my baby. Make sure she's taken care of. So we took her to the lake yesterday, so she got to swim around and play fetch, her favorite thing. I'm sure Mr. Chris Cooking Nashville will make her a steak at some point. Yeah.
Apparently my chef skills have been peddled out to the dog for her birthday.
That's right.
Yes.
And then tomorrow we booked her what we call a day at the spa, which is where she goes to the groomer and she gets her nails done and all groomed. And I think we're going to buy a toy or two. But yeah, it's the first birthday though that I have not been with her whole life, or I guess for the most part.
Yeah.
So we've had her since she was 6 weeks old, and she'll be 6.
Yep.
So yeah. But thank you, Lynn. They worry about her.
I know.
Carnivore Jerry's in the house.
Hello, Jerry.
And this is so sweet. Dawn is here with us this morning.
Hi, Dawn.
Says, love the recipes. Thanks, Chris and Ash. I remember making one of your breakfast sandwiches and the noodles for soup or spaghetti. You guys are awesome.
Well, you're very kind, Dawn. You're awesome. We're glad you're here, and I'm so glad you enjoy the recipes.
Yes, absolutely. Love this comment. Talking about just, again, progress over perfection, really. I'm just on my way replacing Coke Zero with cold brew tea that I make with sparkling water. After 1 week, I'm 2/3 down.
There we go.
That's what I'm talking
Good
about.
for you. And that's, again, don't willpower your way through. Don't just stop the Coke Zero and drink the water and just try to beat your head against a wall. Use some cold brew tea. Add some sparkling water. Find a tool that helps you transition away from that. Work your way through it. You're doing great. Keep going and keep cutting out that Coke Zero bit by bit until it's gone, and you'll be in such a good place.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
Janelle says, love the band group. So supportive. Everyone there knows where you are coming from and where you are aiming to go. Not to mention, there are some fun-loving characters over there.
There are. We've got Pastor Bob in the band.
Yep.
He's always talking about his new carnivore, his carnivore adventures, his improvements, his thoughts, his observations, all that kind of stuff. And he's such a good writer. He's such a good observation type person. I guess being a pastor as well, he's probably developed that skill. Is just particularly good at it. But his observations of the keto and carnivore world are fantastic and very elucidating. Dustin from Keto Simple's over there. Victor at Southern Keto is over there. Chris Bear from Keto Chow is over there. Of course, a bunch of people you're going to see here in the chat. Janelle and Jeff and Darth Carnivore is over there. He's new. And there's all kinds of people over there. Plus, Ash and I are over there causing constant trouble.
Every day. It's one of my goals. Yeah.
Every day.
It's so good. And lots of people are talking about your 90-second carnivore bread that you just came out with. Everyone's excited. Lots of people are saying they're going to try it.
Yeah.
So this is awesome.
Yeah.
Dawn, though, had a great question.
Okay.
Is there a replacement for the egg white powder? Could I use collagen peptide powder instead?
Yes. So there is no egg white powder in the 90-second bread recipe. It is whey protein. And you could use a milk protein or something else. Now, if you use something other than whey protein, if you want to use a beef isolate or a protein isolate, like a whey isolate or something like that, it is possible. I have not done that, but you will probably need to increase the amount of butter a little bit, because if you get too low on the fat, you're going to end up with dry, choky, not particularly pleasant outcome. So it's possible that you can use some other things, but it's not going to be just a 1-to-1 switch. You're going to have to experiment a little bit. And what was the other protein that they mentioned?
Let's see, collagen peptide powder.
Okay, so collagen, you guys are not going to want to use something like that. Collagen melts when it gets hot, so it would be like gelatin. So if you put collagen in there and you try to cook it, it's all going to turn into a gelatinous pancake. So yeah, so different kinds of proteins for very different outcomes.
Definitely. Miss Janelle says yes. Transitioning, it's so confusing when first starting keto. You don't think there's anything normal to eat. And
that's the thing. Eating meat and a few low carb veggies is so normal, but we've all been trained that it's not. And having to retrain that can take time, and having tools to help you get there can make a big difference.
Yeah. Our buddy Thomas, Target Prime Rib, is in the house.
Yeah.
He says, I agree with Dr. Kiltz. If you work on your health, the body will follow.
Yeah, it's a great point, Thomas. I love when Dr. Kiltz talks about that, and we love Dr. Kiltz. And
I love that man.
Yeah, he's really cool, and I think it's a great point of like, just work on your metabolic health, your body will follow. And he's also always talking about how he's like, obesity does not cause the disease. It is the symptom of other problems.
Yeah.
And he's like, being obese doesn't actually cause any problems other than maybe just the physical strain on your body. But there are other things that go along with being obese that will cause problems in your body. And the obesity itself is the symptom of the underlying metabolic issue you need to fix. And if you fix that, your body will follow in time.
Preach it.
Yeah.
Preach it. Janice is here with us this morning. She
Hello,
says,
Janice.
My why is stronger than my willpower.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that.
I love that too. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Darth Carnivore's in the house.
Hello, Charlie.
He says, I've definitely slid along the spectrum of a proper human diet, from dirty keto to strict carnivore currently. How I eat now is definitely different than how I started 3 years ago. It's a journey.
Absolutely. And no one person's journey looks like another.
It's very true. It's very true. Gina is here.
Hi, Gina.
She says, hi, Chris and Ash. My son and I love your recipes. He enjoys trying out each new one. Your efforts are making a difference for the 17-year-old who didn't think it could happen. Thanks, and God bless you.
Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing, Gina, and good for your son for doing this. 17 years old, finding a proper human diet.
Wow.
That's a lot of decades of skipping the bad health issues that many of the rest of us have gone through. So that's fantastic. And see, and this is what I'm talking about, folks. This is why recipes can make a difference. It's not that you need these recipes to eat a proper human diet. But what about someone who's 17 years old and thinks, there's no way I want to do that? I mean, how do you convince someone who's 17 who probably doesn't experience the pain and the metabolic issues of what the junk food is doing to their body because they're young enough, they just don't feel it yet? How do you explain to them that they have to give up all these things they really enjoy because, in the long run, it's going to be better for you? 17-year-olds don't see things that way.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't. But if you can give them things like this and they can enjoy it and they can learn to love to do that, and then they start experiencing benefits from it over time, and then they can figure out how to implement this into their lives, how cool is that?
Oh, it's awesome. Super awesome. Lyra Poe is here, says,
hello.
It's all about what you can do that is comfortable for you and sustainable for you.
Absolutely. More knowledge being dropped from another member of the band.
I'm telling you, they're smart, y'all.
Yep.
Smart. Simply Aunt Kay is here.
Hi, Aunt Kay.
Yeah, she says hi all.
Good to see
you. Tammy is here.
Hello, Tammy, another member of the band.
Yes, is running errands, so I'm just going to listen. Tribe checking in.
Yes, love it.
I love that. This is really cool. So Target Prime Rib Thomas says, my why is not to lose any more toes or body parts, and I am doing that by reversing my insulin resistance.
Amen, and good for you. And what a cool thing that we are finally getting this information out to people. You don't have to just start losing pieces of your body bit by bit by bit and assume it's going to progress and that's all you're ever going to have for the rest of your life. You can reverse it. You can stop it. You can heal it. You can change it.
Yeah. That's so true.
Amazing.
And we were talking about Nisha and Dr. Barry and you doing some work there in the tribe. And Nisha said, so proud to have you in there.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I am very proud to be in there. It is truly a blessing and an honor.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jolene is here.
Hello, Jolene.
She says, hello, Ash and Chris. God's blessing to you both.
Same to you.
Janice says, PhD for life.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and if you make it a lifestyle, that's kind of the point, right?
It is. It is. Absolutely. Coco, just me. I love that name.
Hello, Coco.
Yeah, says, I'm new to the carnivore way of life and so thankful that I found your channel.
Awesome. Well, welcome and rock on to you. I'm so glad you're here and you're doing great.
Absolutely.
We're so happy to have you.
Yeah. And let's see here. Dustin at Keto Simple says, there are so many things behind the scenes of being a bigger person that people who've never been big can't relate to. Embarrassing things.
Yes, absolutely. And Dustin and I have had this conversation because, Dustin was over 400 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I was probably over 400 pounds. I didn't see it on a scale, but Ash and I are both very confident that it was. There was a point I just stopped weighing because you're just too depressed. Um, when you're that big, there are things that are going on in your body and like what your life is like that people who have never been that big don't ever even think about. They
Yeah.
don't consider, and they don't understand what the process looks like of reversing that and going back the other way. That's a very different thing.
Yeah, it's true. I think though, kudos to people though like yourself and Dustin. Um, I think there's vulnerability in sharing some of those embarrassing things or
Yeah.
whatever. But I also think by us sharing our stories, the good, the bad, the ugly, we're all human here.
Yeah.
But it's like you can inspire somebody.
Yeah.
And so I'm always really proud of like you and Dustin, when you guys talk about like, well, I was once 400 pounds or over it, and these are some of the things I dealt with,
Yep.
where it's like, oh wow,
Yep.
and so there's a lot of strength in being vulnerable.
There is. Well, like, okay, so this is one. We'll talk about this because I've talked about this online, I think, once before. Just to give you guys an example, when I was probably about the heaviest that I was, I went and visited a guy that I was working with in the music industry, doing some stuff, playing guitar and writing songs. Went to his apartment and we did a co-write and all this kind of thing, and I used his bathroom while I was there. And so first of all, I have IBS.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm not eating a proper human diet, I like have major issues, and it's like I need to know where the bathroom is. I need to be ready to go at a moment's notice, kind of thing. So suddenly it hit me, I had to go to the bathroom.
Mm.
So I'm in the bathroom. Now this was like an old, like inexpensive apartment, okay? Because things are so expensive around Nashville. Musicians don't have nice apartments a lot of times when they're struggling. Like you get the cheap places, right? So old small apartment with old small toilets. Okay, when you try to sit down on a toilet when you are 400 pounds and it's one of the little small ones, you do not fit very well. So you have to like work around to try to get yourself positioned properly and whatever. And I'm not going to get too graphic here, but you have to like, get all of this positioning done. And then because of the fact that you are so large, your thighs put pressure in wrong places and things don't get aligned exactly, whatever. Then, after you go to the bathroom, you end up having to clean up urine off of the floor because you don't fit in the bowl enough to not make a mess. And now you're like in the situation where you're trying not to be embarrassed by missing the fact that there's urine all over the floor after you just went to use somebody's bathroom that you're visiting their apartment. I mean, that's just one example.
Yeah.
It's just one example, and I can give you guys a dozen others that stick out, but that's a really good one. Dustin and I talked about that one, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about that on a live stream somewhere along the way. But like that was just one example of a memory I have of what it's like to be really large.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to go through that again.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Terry is here.
Hi,
My
Terry.
Terrific life. We love Terry. She says, Ash, you're so right. Mindset change first, breaking those sad addictions and traditions. Now, with y'all's help, I feel I'm creating new traditions, slowly seeing my family changing as well.
Absolutely. That's so great,
That is
Terry.
so awesome.
Love it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Risa's Cluttered Kitchen is here.
Hello, Risa.
Says, hello, all better late than never.
Yeah, we're glad you're here.
Absolutely. Sorry, guys. I got a little book behind here.
I've just been talking too much.
You've been talking and jumping around, but it's all good. CB Carmack is here.
Hello, CB.
Says, on duty but catching as much of the live as I can.
Very cool. We're glad you're here.
Yes. I love this. John Weiss says, CCN recipes are for variety and to increase long-term sustainability.
Yes, and that's the thing, guys. That's what it's all about is long-term sustainability. If you can do that without recipes, great. Go eat your steak and enjoy it, and I think that's wonderful. And if you struggle, then, use some recipes, have some variety, and sustain yourself long-term so you can get those long-term health benefits. Love it.
Absolutely. This is really cool. Jackie says, Wes at Highfalutin Low Carb ends every video declaring how important his videos were / are for him to be accountable in his health journey.
Yep. He always talks about how he looks into the camera because it keeps him accountable, and I've always thought that's a really cool way to sign off on those things. That's really great. I love Wes. Wes is fantastic.
Oh, he's the best, man. I wish he lived closer. I love this from Terry. She says, my son, that's the chef, liked your cornbread too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, no one in my family turns their noses up when I eat, and they're definitely intentionally upping their protein. Goal: a ketovore Thanksgiving.
Amen. Well, good for you. See, and that's the thing, guys. Like, there's people out there like Terry's son, who's a chef. You can't just ask a chef to just totally give up everything overnight.
Yeah, no.
That's part of their identity. So how do they use proper human diet ingredients without losing the identity they've held for so long? Like, even if they're going to get to where they don't do that very much eventually, that's still, like, that's a whole thing to wrap your mind around. It was for me.
Yeah.
I'm not even a professional chef. I'm just a really well-studied home chef. And, I mean, I guess now I'm a professional chef because I make a living by cooking, but like that's a real thing. So
yeah,
it's really cool.
This is awesome. So Coco, just me, by the way, says I'm in Gainsboro/Cookeville, Tennessee.
Oh, well, hey, neighbor.
I was gonna say you're just down the road.
That's right.
Come on over.
That's right. When you coming over to be a taste tester in a video, Coco?
Listen, shoot us an email.
That's right.
Mr. Barry Weems is here.
What's up, Barry?
I love Barry. Barry, how you feeling, buddy? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know how you're doing.
This is interesting. Darth Carnivore says, "Is SAD really a diet, or perhaps a disordered way of eating? I know when I was eating SAD, I didn't stop when I reached a goal and even ate that way in spite of health consequences."
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. I think because there's so much junk and so you're constantly just blasting your brain with carbohydrates and with inflammation and all these things, and your hormones are so out of whack and everything is so unbalanced, I think it is very much almost like a disordered way of eating. Because not that even the food necessarily itself is automatically, but it turns into one because it kills the satiation hormones to a point where you can't stop. And so it's like, I think it leads your brain into that very not good, not ordered way of eating that absolutely becomes a problem. There's a reason that I binged on junk.
Sure.
And soda and all of those things. Like, it is addictive. It is bad. So
yeah, interesting thought. This is awesome. Good morning from Rhonda in Wyoming.
Hello, Rhonda.
New name. I haven't seen you before.
Yeah,
so
glad
welcome.
Here.
Yeah. Dustin says, speaking of hotboxing, Dustin is here.
You're funny, Dustin.
Lots of people are saying that Mel is here. She's funny. Yeah, Mel's a funny dog, you guys. She cracks me up. Amada is here.
Hello, Amada.
Love seeing your name again, friend. Says, my husband is on board with us trying to replace carbs as much as possible for my autistic son. So weekly CCN recipes are now on the calendar. Hoping to let him try all his favorites before September.
Awesome. Love that. Yes. And there are so many ways that this kind of stuff would help. Proper human diet recipes are helpful for so many people. One very good example is people with autism.
Yes.
Because people with autism oftentimes struggle with texture and flavor changes, and they don't process that the same way as someone who's neurotypical. And, even people who are high-functioning autistic that are very verbal and very independent can struggle with this, especially people who are maybe further along that autism spectrum who need more support and help. Like, food texture and food issues, that's a real thing. And you can't look at someone who's autistic and just be like, well, you just got to willpower your way through. Like, that doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And anyone who has a child, anywhere from young to adult children that are autistic that they care for, they will tell you. You don't just tell an autistic child to muscle their way through something because you expect them to. It doesn't work that way. You have to have tools to figure out how to work with them. One of the first messages I ever got on this channel that just tore at my heart was I got an email after I released my very first ever pizza crust recipe way back. And this lady messaged me and said she had an autistic child, and every time she tried to feed him low carb foods, he would take a bite and it would be the wrong texture and he would throw the plate across the room. And she was like, he doesn't process the same way as neurotypical people, and he doesn't know how to handle the textural difference. And she's like, I want him on a lower carb diet because low carb and high protein and fat would be so good for his brain, but I'm struggling to get him to eat anything that is lower carb because all the substitutes are the wrong texture and he just can't do it. And so she said, I made your pizza, and I just crossed my fingers hoping that he might eat some of it and not throw it across the room. And she said, I stood around the corner hoping, praying, and crossing my fingers. And she said, I stood there, and watched him eat the entire low carb pizza, and he never questioned it a single time. And she goes, for the first time, I feel like as a mom, I'm able to do something really good for my son, and it's because you created a recipe that is so good and so close to the real thing that it actually works for someone who's autistic.
Yeah.
And she was like, I feel like a good mom for the first time in a long time. And I was like, I mean, it just tore at me. And I was like, this is why I do what I do.
Yeah.
Because real people need actual, real options and help. And that's why we do what we do. So I am very glad that you guys are using my recipes to try substituting some carbs. And, you know, if you need help with like some textural things or whatever, let me know and I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see here. This is funny. John Wise says, Willpower. My name is not Will, and I don't have his power. I do, however, have the determination to keep eating this way so I can live a long, healthy life.
Absolutely. I love that.
That's awesome. And then we got Mrs. Newton's Big Family
Hello.
Big Noise. Glad you're here. Marty is here.
Hello, Marty, another member of the band.
Yes, glad you're here, my friend. Amada also says, would love recipes for bagels and lollipops as well, if possible.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, I've been contemplating bagels for a very long time. It's very hard to get that kind of a texture in these products. I've got some ideas, but it's very tough, but I'm trying. The lollipops, I actually have something that I've been thinking about lately, kind of working on, that I think would maybe lead us in that direction. So give me some time. Let me see what I can do.
We're gonna make him work. We're gonna have him figure it out.
We're thinking.
I like it. This is awesome. Joy S is here.
Hi, Joy.
She says, first time live watcher here.
Awesome.
Welcome. And again, it's just, progress. She says, after a year on Carnivore, I have lost my will to cook recipes and feed large group gatherings.
Mm-hmm.
freedom. Oh, freedom.
I totally understand.
That's awesome. It just moves you moving further along.
Yep.
So, and then when something pops up, though, you know where to find a recipe.
That's right.
That's awesome. Terry at My Terrific Life says, Food Network won't know what hit them. Congrats, my friend. Let's get Chris to the next level, folks.
You're very sweet, Terry. We appreciate that.
Yes. Christina has a question.
Yeah.
Trying to buy a frother. Any recommendations for a favorite? Also interested in a steamer. If I can buy a combo set, even better. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't have any specific recommendations because I don't have a frother.
Yeah.
I also don't have a steamer. I have, I'm assuming you're talking about probably for coffee. The only thing that I have is we have an espresso machine my dad gave me that has the little steam wand built into it, but that's the only thing that I use. So, I don't necessarily know if I were you and I was looking for this, I would go to Amazon. I would find what's out there. I'd look for things that have 4.5 and up star reviews, and then I'd go read some reviews and pick one that seems to have lots of good reviews and seems to be a good price for what it is.
Yeah.
That's usually, if it's a product that I have no knowledge of, that's usually where I start.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
Just me.
Angie Z says, hi, friends. Love Pastor Bob, and that coffee is good too.
Yes, thank you so much, Angie, for being here. Yeah, Pastor Bob does have some really cool coffees called Headbangers Brew.
It's great.
And it's very good coffee. And he uses the proceeds of that to help support the ministries like the Feed the Homeless ministry and the different things that he does, getting women and kids out of human trafficking. And Pastor Bob does some epic things and works with amazing people that do incredible things. And he uses things like the sales of his coffee and that kind of stuff to fund all of that. That's where all of that money goes. Like, it's one of the reasons that I love doing things like buying his coffee from time to time, because he doesn't live in some big fancy house and take a bunch of money.
Yeah.
He takes all of the money from all of those things, and it all goes into the ministry.
He's a great guy.
He's an incredible human being.
Yeah. Ann D is here.
Hello, Ann.
Says, woohoo, made it. Hey, everyone. Hope your Monday is off to a great start.
Yeah.
Carrie has a great question about your 90-second bread. Can you use Keto Chow with the 90-second bread?
Maybe. The thing with Keto Chow is Keto Chow has things like, I think it's xanthan gum and some other things in there because it's made to be turned into a shake. So it's possible, but that's not like a straight whey protein. There are other things in there. So the best thing I can say is it's a hard maybe.
Yeah.
It might work. I'm not sure. I'd have to try it. It would probably take some tweaking.
Yeah.
So,
Stay tuned.
yeah.
Brian Fly Fisherman Dish is in the
Hey,
house.
Brian.
And Sherry Nevada Pup said, made the 90-second bread, toasted it, ate it with butter, and my lupa noodle goulash.
Uh-huh.
I made the bread, needed salt. I'm making bruschetta with it.
Okay, there you go.
Yum.
Yeah, bruschetta would be a great way to use that. And feel free to add some salt if you want. I use salted butter, and I think that it has plenty of salt that way because bread itself does not usually have a salty flavor. But if you want some salt in it, feel free to add it.
Yeah. And this is so sweet. Dustin gave you a $5 super chat.
Oh, Dustin, you're very sweet, friend.
Very, very sweet. He says, easy clean, 90-second chocolate chip cookie cup/mug cake. One, not so clean, that Chandra likes. Stop being carried at the store. I mean, that's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah. I'll see what I can think of. I'll see
Yeah.
what I can think of.
That is awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
Let me see here. Hey, really quick, can you go over the voting for favorite chef super quick? Because a lot
Yeah.
of people are asking, coming in late, like,
Yeah.
where do I vote?
Where do I vote and all that? Yeah.
Go through that, honey, one
Yeah,
more time
so
here.
guys, I don't know exactly what that whole process is going to look like. I'm waiting for them to open it up. It's going to be 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central. We will share the link for you on the channel. So you'll go to the community tab here on my channel. Just you can go to view my channel and you'll see like my videos, my live streams, my community tab, like all that stuff across the top there. Go to the community tab. I'm going to share the voting link there and it'll have instructions for you guys. As soon as it goes live and we know that it's there, I'll share a post that has that for you guys. I'll also put it on my Facebook page. So you can go there. I would put it on my Instagram, but Instagram doesn't let you put links in the posts. So I'll probably talk about it on Instagram, but it will just take you back to the YouTube channel. So easiest place to find it will be either the YouTube community tab or the Facebook page.
I love it.
And we'll share that for you guys as soon as it's live.
Yeah.
So.
Let's see here. We got some great comments in here today.
I love it.
This is awesome. So Amanda McDonald is here.
Hi, Amanda.
I don't recognize your name, so assuming you're new, so welcome. Says, yep, new here. Been doing keto/carnivore for almost a year. Lost some weight, but started this lifestyle to heal fibromyalgia, and it is working. Slowly, but healing takes time.
Rock on.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. And that's a great point. This is the kind of thing where people don't sometimes, I think, understand the entire world is not about how much weight you can lose.
Yep.
There are other things that matter so much more to us than just losing the weight. The weight will happen, but there are other things. Like I've said before, if I never lose another pound in my life, I would still do this because having my depression and my anxiety and my pain and all of those other things, my skin issues, all these things that have changed in me, having all that go away, that's worth it in and of itself. It's incredible.
And that goes really well with the next comment I was going to pull up is from Andy. Says, I'm still so happy I found Carnivore. My weight literally has not budged in years. I'm nearly 1 year in and I've lost about 35 pounds. Currently starting weight was 327. But rock on. But like, yes.
Rock on.
So
You're
much
doing
more
so
than just
great,
a number. Yes. And this is really great. John Wise says, my highest weight was around 600 pounds. I was at 550 when I had the surgery, dropped down to 420, then back up to 500.
Mm-hmm.
Then PhD, proper human diet, got me down to 440 pounds so far. But I feel much better than before PhD.
Yes. And that's a really good example of like, okay, so you drop and you go back up, and like weight loss is not a linear journey. And here's the thing, losing down to 420, but then going back up, okay, well, then that obviously that wasn't a permanent thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But being down at 440, but you feel good and you're sticking to it and you're staying there and it can then come down over time, that's a huge win.
Absolutely.
That's a big deal.
Absolutely.
So good for you, John.
Yeah. And Sunny Chronicles is in the house.
Hello, Sunny.
So sweet. I love this comment from Miss Holly Springer. Says, Chris, I have been cooking for myself since 1981, and I still learn techniques and much more from your videos. Thanks for educating us all.
Oh, Holly, you're very sweet. I'm glad to help. I love helping people as best I can, and I'm a teacher at heart. I come from a long line of teachers, so I love getting to help people.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Sorry, guys, we jumped around a lot. Make sure I'm not doing that. Um, this is really good from Amanda too. Says, I
Mm-hmm.
love the recipes. Makes it easy to not feel like I can't have something I would otherwise miss. Now, if I can't slash didn't make it, I don't eat it.
Yep.
That's
Absolutely.
that's
I love
awesome.
it.
Let's see here. And this is awesome. Patricia is here.
Hello, Patricia.
She says, hey from Atlanta. My first live here. I'm so happy about all your recipes. Variety is key for me.
I understand. There's some people that just really need that, and I'm just happy to help and provide that. And quite honestly, not even so much that I needed to eat variety, but I love being in the kitchen and cooking for other people. I wanted to be able to create
Yeah,
and cook variety, and that's what led to me doing what I do. So
I love
I
that.
totally understand.
Yeah. Um, 22Q Cat Lynn says, that's a great story about the autistic child. Not even my child, but tugs at my heartstrings and makes me so happy you helped him.
Yeah, it
Yes.
really made me feel like what I was doing mattered.
Yes. And this is great. Greta is here. Says, I love the 90-minute bread. It's so easy, and I'm eating it for breakfast with my bacon and eggs.
Love it. I think you probably mean 90-second bread. Hopefully you're not microwaving it for 90 minutes. That would
Yeah.
be a lot, but
Well, I think, fair point, though. A lot of people, I think it must be, because I think we're used to stuff like that taking such a long time to make.
Yeah.
It's like we're used to, like, making carnivore bread.
Yes.
It's a 90-minute, no, it's 90 seconds. But
Yes.
yeah.
I have mistakenly myself called it 90-minute bread
Yeah,
without
we all
thinking. So, no criticism. I just think that's funny when
Yeah.
people accidentally do that. But yeah, Greta, I'm so glad you're enjoying it. And that's the thing, when you have like something like that you can just whip up real quick and throw it together with your eggs and bacon or whatever,
Mhm.
like really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And let's see here. John Y says, I use salted butter for everything.
Mm-hmm.
This is I feel this comment.
Yeah.
I've been here. I'm always so sad to see when I see parents yell at their children to behave better when they feed them tons of carbs.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
true,
the thing
but
is,
they don't know better.
They don't know better, and that's the thing. It's like I don't blame the child, but at the same time, I almost don't blame the parents either because they're doing what they were told.
Yeah.
They're just doing what they think is right, and it's everyone is so misinformed and they're struggling.
But that's why it's so important that you share your own,
Yes.
proper human diet experiences with people.
Yes.
That you share YouTube channels, whether it's this one or
Yes.
Dr. Bear or anyone else that you follow,
Yeah.
where you go, man, this is stuff
This
that
is the
people need to know.
information.
You need to share it with people, and the more people that know, then the more they're educated.
Yep.
So, and there's no judgment, because I guarantee you that when I was drinking alcohol and fast food and 100 pounds overweight and all this
Yeah.
crap, I guarantee I was always not the nicest person, and
Yeah.
I would snap and
Yeah.
and not realize it. So
Yep. I
but
would
you're-
too.
But now I see it, and it is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
You're so right. Erica has a question.
Mm-hmm.
So they live in a higher elevation in western North Carolina.
Yep.
And my carnivore bread continues to fall.
Yeah.
I follow your recipe exactly. Do you have any idea on what I can do to keep it from falling?
Yeah. Hey, Erica, if your bread is falling, it doesn't really have much to do with the elevation. Mostly, you might need to bake it just a little bit longer. But more importantly, if it's falling, you need more egg white powder. I'm assuming you're talking about the old carnivore bread recipe, the old carnivore white bread, not my 90-second bread. If you're talking about the 90-second bread, let me know and I can answer that specifically because that's different. But for the old carnivore bread, if it is falling, it's because you don't have enough egg white powder. So you're just maybe under measuring the egg white powder, because if you get too much egg white powder, it turns into styrofoam and it's not good to eat. If you don't have enough, it will fall. So it's just figuring out that balance, and it's hard sometimes because you have to learn what it looks like. And I know that's annoying, but this is the thing with baking and that kind of stuff, especially doing it without gluten and starch the way we were doing it. Eggs are an organic product, and every egg is a slightly different weight and has a slightly different water content. So learning to kind of play around with that and know how to get the thing to look the way it needs to look, it just takes a little bit of practice. It took me a year and a half to get that recipe right. So, don't feel bad if it takes a few tries, but you just need to add more egg white powder so that it has more of a stable protein structure so it doesn't fall apart and sink on you. So, I would start with maybe like another heaping tablespoon of egg white powder in your egg white mixture. and then if it still sinks, more. And if you eat it and you're like, okay, it held up, but now it's like too dry and choky, then reduce that back. So you just kind of play with it back and forth until you get it to where it doesn't sink, but it doesn't choke you to eat it.
Yep.
Yep.
Love it. Another great question. Joy S. Do you think that chocolate protein powder from Ancestral could be used to make chocolate bread? I have a sister who is new to carnivore and jonesing for both grains and chocolate.
Yeah, I don't know what all is in that ancestral powder, but it is quite possible. If you want to make a chocolate bread, I would say you can certainly try the ancestral powder. If you're going to do that, I would also replace the butter powder with unsweetened cocoa powder because the butter powder is in there for flavor. So replace the 1 tablespoon of the butter powder with 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder. You're probably going to want to use a little bit of allulose or stevia or whatever sweetener that you would want. That's up to you. But, again, you may have to play with ratios like the fat or different things because different protein powders work different ways. So it's possible, but I haven't tried it. I've actually never used the ancestral chocolate powder, so I can't speak to it because I've never used it. So
yeah, thank you for the great question.
yeah, but it would be fun if you could make a chocolate bread like that. When we owned the artisan bakery that I used to, if you guys didn't know, I used to have an artisan micro bakery. I did handmade sourdough breads of all different varieties and had different flavors and different inclusions and all kinds of stuff in it. And it was all music themed and it was so cool. Terrible for you, but it was cool. And we knew nothing about keto or carnivore at the time. And I actually made a chocolate bread with chocolate chips. It was a chocolate sourdough bread with chocolate chips all through it.
Yeah.
It was really good.
It was. Crow is here.
Hi,
Says,
Crow.
Good morning. And Brian says, remember, you didn't get into the condition you are overnight, so it will not take. So it will take time to get better.
Absolutely.
Everyone needs vitamin P.
Yep.
P for patience.
Yep, absolutely. Dr. Barry says it all the time. Take a big dose of vitamin P. Yep. Patience.
Reese's Clutter Kitchen says, how you feel is so important, Chris. I also come from teachers. My mom was a second grade teacher for 20 years, and my dad taught grad school business classes. He went to Stroudsburg Teachers College.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love
it's
it.
Part of who you are, part of your stuff. I
Absolutely.
love it. And this is funny. Luripo says, I actually got mad at my husband when he went carnivore. I love that. Because I couldn't cook in the kitchen anymore.
Yeah. Yep.
Now you can.
Yep, that's right.
Yep, make Chris's recipes.
That's right.
Miss Emily's here. Says, dang, I got in the flow and forgot it was Monday. I'll watch the replay as usual.
Well, that's all right, Emily. We're just glad you're here.
Oh, and Erica with the question on the bread falling in
the old recipe.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That one, the biggest issue, so there's 2 issues that happen with that bread regularly. My bread fell and sank and didn't taste good, whatever, and it was like this tall and squishy. That's not enough egg white powder. Or the bread was dry and choky and didn't taste good and, blah, 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 and it was like eating a memory foam pillow, and that's too much egg white powder. Yeah. It's the 2 most common things that people struggle with, and going back and forth on that is why, not just with that recipe, but every bread recipe before that I had tried to figure out how to create my own, every single one I was playing back and forth, and I was always struggling to get that right.
Yeah. Dustin gave you a $5 super chat because
well, Dustin, you're very sweet.
He's very, very sweet. I am 99% sure that you actually answered Carrie's question.
Yes.
But just again, Carrie had a great question. Can
keto
chow be used in the 90-second bread?
Yep, it's a hard maybe. Because of the additions of other things that keto chow has in it, it is possibly going to work, and it may take some different playing around and tweaking of things like the amount of butter or the amount of the keto chow powder or those kinds of things. So it's a hard maybe. I have not had time to try, but we certainly will.
Yes, most definitely. Thank you. Let's see here. And I really like this comment from Angie Z. Vitamin P is the hardest vitamin to swallow.
Yes, it is. It is. It is the hardest one to swallow because, truthfully, I find most of the issue of vitamin P is, well, there's 2 things. Number 1, you have to trust that swallowing it will work. And it's just pure faith and trust and, whatever. Second is that oftentimes the things we need vitamin P for are trying to live up to the expectations of someone else. Things like, I'm not losing weight fast enough. Well, why does it matter how fast you lose weight? Well, I look terrible. Well, if you didn't own a mirror, how would you know that you look one way or another? If you use the mirror, why are you trying to look good? Because you're not looking at yourself all day. You're worried about what other people look at you and see, right? It's the influence of other people. It's the pressures of society that make us think we have to get skinny as fast as possible.
Absolutely.
And that's something we just can't change. And so that's one of the reasons that it's, I think, so difficult. And I'm susceptible to that just like anybody. So that's not in any way a criticism. It's just a real thing. We all live in a world where that matters, and we just have to try to keep it in perspective.
That's awesome. Yeah, and Dustin says, I guess I totally missed it.
That's all right.
That's what I get for working and listening at the same time.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's hilarious. And Erica says, thank you so much. I love your recipes, and you both are so talented.
Oh, you're very sweet, Erica. We're very
sweet.
happy to help. No problem.
Very, very sweet. Awesome. Well, babe, let's see. I think we're good. I think I got to everyone's question at least, and hopefully we said hello to everybody.
Yeah.
However, guys, if you did not get your question answered, or if you go, man, these guys talk about 90-second carnivore bread, they talk about poop, they talk about whatever else, come join us tomorrow night, Tuesday.
Jesus Pizza and Poop.
Jesus Pizza and Poop.
Every Monday at 10 a.m. or every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time for Backstage with Chris, where I cook live and answer questions.
Yes. So if you did not get your question answered, come join us over tomorrow night. What are you making tomorrow night on the live stream?
So tomorrow I'm going to show you guys how you can do poached eggs and how you can do them very easily and how you can do them fail safe. And you don't have to, poached eggs are one of those things that everyone thinks of like restaurants doing, and it's like, oh, getting a proper poached egg is so hard, and like if we don't get the poached eggs just right, then they're gonna break, and they're not good, and they're overcooked, they're undercooked. It just I think that it's made to be so much more complicated than it really is. So I'm going to show you guys how you can do poached eggs, and you can do 1, or you can do 6, or if you got a big enough pot, you could do a dozen, whatever. And I'm going to show you how I like to eat them. And then I'm probably going to take some carnivore bread, since I have this new 90-second bread, and we're going to have it be a fill-in until I come up with a better recipe. We're going to have it be a fill-in for a Belgian, not a Belgian waffle, a English muffin.
Oh.
Yeah, we're gonna act like it's an English muffin a little bit, and we're gonna do a little eggs Benedict style something or another with a poached egg. So yeah, should be really, really good. We're gonna have some fun with that, and now tomorrow we will be live.
Yes.
Next Monday and Tuesday, we will not be.
Mm-hmm.
We will not be here next week live on Monday or Tuesday because we're going to be out. We're going to be in Gatlinburg, and then Ash has a show in Knoxville that we're going to be playing, and we're just not going to be back here. So now we might do some surprise lives if we have the time and the Wi-Fi connection necessary. So you guys make sure you hit the notification bell here on the channel so that you get notified if we go live, and you can come hang out and to kind of see what we're up to and everything. We're going to be doing some really special stuff while we're in Gatlinburg. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be seeing a bunch of people in the community. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
And probably going to end up at Dollywood at some point. So that should be good.
That's my goal. Yes.
Yep. So we're going to have some fun, but we will not be here for the next 2 lives after the one we do tomorrow night.
Yes.
So.
And some people are asking, so just to make sure. So, the cooking live stream that usually would happen every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern, that happens on the main Chris Cooking Nashville channel. So please feel free to head on over there. Like I said, like, subscribe, and be ready. But yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
Right.
So.
Yep, absolutely. Main Chris Cooking Nashville channel, where all of my recipes are. We're going to go live on there and be cooking, and we'll be having a lot of fun. So
absolutely,
we'll do those poached eggs, and then we have a really special video coming on Saturday. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is just yet, but I will tell you it is based off of this 90-second carnivore bread recipe. So
y'all ain't even ready.
It's
ain't even ready.
Yeah, we already filmed it, and Ash has already eaten it, and she thoroughly enjoyed.
It has my blessing.
Yes. So actually, it's a good example of the kinds of things that I share with our band members. I'm going to be telling them probably today. Sharing a picture of what it is we're working on, so the band will know what's coming on Saturday, might be able to put in their requests for some other ideas and different things. So,
Yeah.
anyway, I think that's everything. So, did I forget anything?
I don't think so, guys. Yeah. If we're, like I said, if we're able to, while we're in the Smoky Mountains,
Yeah.
we're going to be at Meat Stock, doing that event. We're going to be there for most of the week and then playing shows and stuff after. But we're not going to be home for a while. But we'll do pop-up live, so just keep your eyes open.
Pop-up lives, posts, whatever we can to just stay connected with you guys while we're out. So, yeah.
Cool. I think you got it.
Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching, for hanging out with us this morning. It was so good to have all of you in here. We appreciate all of you. Make sure to go down to the description box. You can find the link to the band. If you want to come join the private community, we would love to have you in there. All of the other stuff you can find on our channel and other links that are down in the description box. And we just appreciate you guys. So go out there, make your willpower not the whole point of how you do this to be successful. And put a comment down below if you're watching the replay. What are you doing to make yourself a little bit more convenient to make the right choice on your keto, carnivore, proper human diet journey? We would love to know. So thank you guys for being here. We love every single one of you. This is Chris Cook in Nashville. My beautiful wife, Ash Taylor. You guys eat your meat, especially when it's convenient. Love your life. We'll see you here in the studio, downstairs in the kitchen, and a whole bunch of other places maybe on the road for a bunch more proper human diet lifestyle videos.
Yeah. Awesome. Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.